All right. And we are back. Welcome back, everybody. Soul Commodore again, and we are back working on this thing. If you remember last time, we were working on stretching a giant canvas 6 feet by 4 feet. Today, and then after that we started on this piece, but we were just kind of waiting for it to dry, and that's not very fun to watch. So we kind of ended the last stream early, but today we're going to get started on the meat and potatoes of this piece after we redo the background again, because as you can see, it's still a little of the background painting colors showing through, so we just got to take care of that. But we are back in our original room, which has much better light. Not everything's all washed out and everything. So yeah, with that, I'm just going to rehang these corners a little bit, try to get a few of the wrinkles out, just like so. Just like that. They're still there, but they're a little bit lesser now. So yeah, welcome. Thank you for joining us again, and let's get started. And as I said, we're redoing, well, not redoing, but we're doing the background again, so we're going to need some white paint. And for a quick sort of reintroduction, I'll bring my reference image that I took over and show you guys again. This is the image that, well, there we go. That's a little bit, there we go. So again, I took that image in Ajax, downtown Ajax, a couple of weeks ago. It was a rainy day, and I thought that looked cool. So we're going to be basing this piece on that picture. So we're going to need a little bit more white paint. So let me dig through my supplies down here. And first and foremost, make sure that I have more white paint. Because I have a sneaking suspicion that we're going to be using up the rest of the white paint that I have today. So, but I hope you all are having a wonderful Friday. Yes, this stream was supposed to go down yesterday, but I had volunteered to help my girlfriend's parents with their basement, just laying down some vinyl flooring and doing all that kind of stuff. So, you know, I like to keep my word. So I was just working on that yesterday. And it seems that the stream is working pretty good. Because like I said, we're not as close to the router this time. We're in our bedroom. But as long as everything holds okay, we should be all right. So we're just getting as much of this white paint out of these tubes as possible, which isn't an easy task, but we're gonna get through it. That's two. Let's see if we can squeeze any more out of this one. But yeah, I hope you all are having a wonderful Friday. And hopefully you had a warmer Friday. If you like warmer weather, I hope you had a warmer Friday than we had here. It was very cold today. It's like this evening, because I went and finished the floor this evening. I walked outside and I almost felt like I needed my winter coat. I just had my spring jacket on, so this one's a tough one. Again, don't do this at home. There we go. It's best not to risk getting a mouthful of paint, even though acrylic is, in terms of toxicity of paint, it's certainly not the most toxic. Like, you don't want to ingest oil paint. Although I'm pretty sure oil paint doesn't have lead in it anymore, so it's a little bit safer than it was way back in the day. But that's a good amount of white. So now we'll just fill this up with some other colors that we'll need. A brand new tube of black. I tend to use a lot of black and white paint, so if you are doing your own creative ventures with paint, yours may differ. You may use different colors a lot more often, but for me, I know my big thing is a lot of black and white. And again, with the teeth, do as I say, not as I do. So we're going to get our large brush. Now that our background is completely dry, and now we're actually going to do some good coverage. So grab some white and a very tiny amount of black. Looking at the reference photo, there's actually not that much cloud cover going on. Like it's a cloudy day, but in terms of cloud definition, it's just one big stratus cloud, like just one big wall of like just white clouds, because it's a rainy day. So we're going to reflect that in this painting. So we're actually not going to have too many defined clouds in the sky. Like I said, if anything, there's just going to be a little bit of black, just to give us a little bit of variance, and to kind of gray things out a little bit. But other than that, this is going to be a pretty white sky. Jake from the woods, what's happening, man? Yes, I would say that it is going to be a happy big cloud. It's just a giant wall of cloud. But yes, I would say it is a happy cloud regardless. But welcome on in. I hope you're having a wonderful evening, because it's deep in the evening where you're at. So I appreciate you tuning in. You had a very fun stream today. Ooh, shiny hunting, right? Are you shiny hunting in sword or in a brilliant diamond? Ah, very nice, very nice, very nice. You know, that was a fun stream today. It is nice when you can kind of like just relax and kind of just play through a game, right? Like when I eventually get myself a capture card, like I said, my plans are I'm gonna start streaming games probably twice a week, probably in between the art streams, and I'm gonna do I want to run through the entire Mario RPG series, at least all the games that I have. So starting with the actual Super Nintendo, Super Mario RPG, and then Paper Mario 1000 Year Door, Super Paper Mario, and then finish it off with Origami King. Yes. I mean, they are fun to watch. They are fun to watch, so keep that in mind. But I imagine they are much more stressful to get through, because I imagine there's an air of performance to it where you don't want to fail too badly, and you want to move up in the ranks. You don't want to just, yeah, I get that. Actually, I'm going to try something real quick. I want to see if my shoutout command works, because I worked very hard on it. Hey, it did work. Nice. So yeah, anybody else who's watching, you should check out Jake from the Woods. Very, very, very cool guy. He's an IRL friend of mine from way back in the day, and he plays a whole lot of lot of Pokemon. He's very good at Pokemon, very adept, his Pokemon intellect blows my mind. Just in terms of his knowledge of the games and all of the Pokemon and all their moves and all the items, and it's just and on top of that, he's very entertaining to listen to and watch. He's very engaging. Has been for as long as I've known him. So it's nice to see that carry over to his streams. So yeah, go check him out. Go give him a follow and check out his stuff. He also had a very fun Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild playthrough yesterday. So you should check that out as well. So we're just slowly making our way, evening out this background, like I said. And I'm currently trying to get one of my hairs out of the paint. That'll happen to you a lot, actually, if you take up painting. Be prepared for all manner of stuff. Yeah, no problem, man, no problem. You know, gotta look out for a brother. Plus, you've got excellent content, so I wanna spread it out as far as I can. When you're painting, be prepared for bristles to come off in your painting, random hairs, and be prepared to have to pick those out, unless you want to keep them in. That's also an artistic choice. It's not particularly a choice that I share, but it is an artistic choice. But yeah, eventually when I start doing some game stuff on here, I want to go through the entire Paper Mario series because, I mean, in all honesty, it's probably, not even probably, it is my favorite game series. Also, apologies, the camera's over here. I've got my laptop with the chat over here, so I keep trying to figure out who to talk to. But yes, hands down, the Paper Mario series is my favorite video game series. It's my favorite video game of all time is Super Mario Bros. 3, and a lot of that is nostalgia, and I mean, it's a very, very good game. Kind of redefined what platforming could be. But a lot of that is my family would play that game together, right? So a lot of it is tied to nostalgia. But Paper Mario was the first game that I remember specifically asking my parents to buy for me. Because I was 12 years old, and I didn't have a job. I didn't have money. You know. And thankfully, they were able to get enough money together to get it for me for my, I think it was my 12th birthday. 12th or 13th, one of the two. Either way, that game took over my life. You guys, if you guys want to pop in chat and tell me if there's a game that you played at any point in your life that basically took over your life, I'd love to hear about it because, you know, it's a very fun and engaging thing video games can be. If you're not into video games, that's fine too. No shame in that. But I know they were a very formative part of my childhood. Ah, yes, Oracle of Seasons. Yes. Yes, that's a... I haven't played that one. I've seen Let's Plays of it. Let me refresh my chat box, because it's not... nothing's showing up again. It's being weird. But yeah, Oracle of Seasons, that's a... That's what. Did you play Oracle of Ages too, or just Seasons? Just seasons. That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. But yeah, what was it about that game that you fell in love with? Like, what was it about it that just made it your all in all at that time? Yes, Jasmine Music. Dad did kick my butt at Tecmo Super Bowl all the time, and it's not fair. Let me look at the camera. It's not fair because he always used the Raiders with Bo Jackson, and if he didn't use the Raiders, he used the Oilers with Warren Moon, who could just throw it up in the air and it would go 95 yards, and then Haywood Jeffries or someone would catch it. That wasn't fair. The attention to detail. That's fair. That is fair. Uh, yeah, I think that's pretty similar to, honestly, my experience with Paper Mario. Like, one of the things on it, honestly, was the design. I'm the Raiders. I'm Bo Jackson. Yes. But with me and Paper Mario, really, because we had Super Mario RPG. My mom got it at a secondhand store somehow, and I didn't know how RPGs worked. And I was like 10 years old, and one of my cousins came over, and I got about halfway through the game without knowing how RPGs worked, and she accidentally deleted my file, so I didn't play the game again for a couple of years, right? Because I was just so frustrated because it took me so long to get to that point because I didn't know how RPGs worked. But I saw ads for Paper Mario, and it just looked so fun and so weird, and it was like, oh, I want to try that, you know? And that game, like, we didn't even rent it. Like, my parents just got it for me, and I was instantly hooked, and a big part of that was the music. Music is very important to me when it comes to a game. It's if a game has good music, even if every other element is terrible, I can probably, like, bear with it for a bit, you know? The music is enough for me to, like, get engrossed with the story. And then, like, it was very, very, like, fun, and the graphics were very interesting because Mario was in this faux 3D world, but he was two-dimensional, and all the enemies were two-dimensional, and you know, just reading through the booklet on the playground was just it was just a fun time. And then the one moment where I knew I was gonna love the game, love is basically spoilers. Princess Peach gets kidnapped, which actually isn't a running thing exactly in the way that you think in the Paper Mario series, but I won't get that into it. But Princess gets kidnapped. Her castle is basically uprooted and sent into the sky. Yeah, what? Say it ain't so. But her castle is uprooted and sent into the sky by Bowser. And you fight him, and it turns out that Bowser's invincible. So you fall to Earth, and then you have to find these star spirits to grant people the power to grant wishes, because Bowser stole the star rod, and now people's wishes don't come true. And he captured and imprisoned all the star spirits. Anyway, after all that happens, you go back to Toad Town, where Princess Peach's castle was, and you go north, and there's an area of the game called Shooting Star Summit. And if you get a chance, yes, it's such a travesty that she gets kidnapped over and over again, endlessly. But there's an area called Shooting Star Summit, and if you go and check out that track on YouTube, because, you know, it's on the official soundtrack and all that, that song hooked me to Paper Mario. That song was it, like, just the vibe of it. I was just like, you know what, I love this game already. We're like 20 minutes into it, but I love this game already. And then the rest of the game is just delightful. Chapter 7, again, spoiler alert, you go into this ice world, basically, the ice area of the game, and every single track in Chapter 7, in every single area, is a banger. Every single one is so good. It's so fitting. The music fits the tone of the game perfectly. And I would say that for all of the Paper Mario games, even the ones where they're not really Paper Mario games, like Sticker Star and Paper Jam and Color Splash, like those ones that they're, you know what, they're decent games, but they're not Paper Mario games. But even in those games, like, the music is really, really good. So, that's my little Paper Mario rant. I apologize, but I just really, really, really love that game, and one of these days I'll get to play it for y'all. Because that game took over my life, basically from grade 6 on. Alright. So, we evened out this background. Now it is all completely white. It's an even tone, which is what I wanted. So now we start to kind of map out where we want the things to go. So we know that there's going to be a derelict truck or a van or something. Yeah, sorry about that, Zelshot. I'm still trying to figure out the MooBot, but thanks for joining the stream. And don't worry, I was ranting in favor of Paper Mario. I went on a long rant on how it's my favorite series and how it was very formative for my youth. It wasn't a rant against it. I curse anybody who rants against Paper Mario. But also, thank you for the follow. I didn't get to thank you yesterday because I didn't stream, but thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Welcome on in. But yes, so what we're going to do now is we're basically going to map out where we want things. So we know there's going to be a light pole. We know there's going to be buildings in the background because this is a parking lot. And we know there's going to be a derelict car or truck just in the foreground somewhere. So now is the time where we get our charcoal. Where's my charcoal? Well, charcoal, I don't have my charcoal, so we'll just use a pencil. And we'll just kind of start mapping out where we want things to be. New username alert. I like it. So, and again, this is the beautiful thing about acrylic paint. It doesn't take that long to dry. So, like, I can run my hand on here and it's a tiny bit tacky, but it's mostly dry, which is beautiful. Okay, so we want, let's see, we want the light pole to start about here. So we're just going to sketch this out really quick. I don't tend to sketch things out in painting, but when you're working off of a white background, it can actually really help. Thank you for the lurk, Jake. Happy lurking. And as it says there, I always feel like somebody's watching me. Yeah, actually, I am going to use charcoal. If Okay, so I will be right back. I'm not going to put up the be right back screen because I'm going to be gone for literally 10 seconds. Just my charcoal is in the other room. Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that, Jake. But yeah, I'm going to go grab my charcoal because it's in a bag that I have in the other room. Because that'll show up better on stream. So I will be right back. Just hold tight. Okay. That was a bit longer than 10 seconds, but that's all right. So we have my bag of charcoal supplies, so I'm just going to grab a charcoal pencil. Anyone will do because we'll be covering it up anyway. So I'm just going to sketch out very, very quickly, very rudimentarily what it is that we're going to be doing. So that's the base of the light pole. And then going to grab a straight edge. Because we have to decide how tall we're going to make this thing. So that works, I think. But yeah, I hope everyone is having a lovely day today. Zelshot, if you're still there, how did your stream go? I caught bits and pieces of it. I was, as I was saying earlier, I was in the middle of helping my girlfriend's parents, because they were away today. I was finishing putting down their vinyl flooring in their basement, so and where I was, my phone cord didn't stretch enough for me to actually like watch anything. But I hope your stream went well. Okay. So now this is one of those cool, sort of like quad lampposts. So we'll just sketch that out. And again, all this is going to get covered up with paint, so I'm not worried about being completely exact. What I am worried about is I'm trying not to spread the charcoal around too much. But, and then we're going to just mark out where there's some cracks and stuff in the pavement around the base of this thing. There we go. And then we have to decide what vehicle we're going to do. Are we going to do a rusted out old car? Are we going to do a van, like a professional van, like in the reference photo? What are we going to do? And I think, honestly, I think I'm leaning towards sticking toward the van. If only because it's a more fun shape. I'll take out the advertisement for Auto Pro in it because I'm not we're not doing that. But I think we're going to stick toward keeping the van in there. So we'll just kind of sketch out where we want the van. And I'll get my straight edge again to kind of map out where it's going to be sitting. So that's the plane it's going to be on, I think. So I'm just checking the reference image for scale, just to make sure we're not going too crazy out of whack. How big is that wheel compared to... Okay, so the wheel is about half the size of this, so let's do that. Okay, and across here. And again, this is all this is all very subject to change. This is just kind of, again, sort of the starting point, mapping out what it is that we're going to be doing with this painting. And again, I don't usually do this with a pencil and all that, but I figured, hey, we'll try something new. Usually, I just go for it. And again, if this scale isn't 100%, that's okay, because we can always fix that when we actually start painting. This is just more or less giving me a starting point. So there we go. Alright. So that's not too bad, although we're going to keep this in for scale just for now, and then I think we're going to paint over it and actually move it closer to this light pole, like it is in the reference image. Either that or we'll make the light pole bigger, and then, which I think we might go with that. But regardless, we now have the bones of like where we're going to put stuff in the painting. So I'm just going to mess with this reference image. Basically show you what I'm doing. So I took this reference image, again in Ajax not too long ago. Let me just open up the program that I'm using, and then I'll show you what I'm going to do. Which I really should have started with, but that's fine. Open with Photoscape. But yeah, I see there's a bunch of people in here, so thank you for checking out the stream. Really appreciate you coming out on a Friday evening, when you could be doing anything else, but you're here with me. I do appreciate that. Okay, so I'll show you, I'll just bring my computer over here. So this is, once that flare, there we go. So that's our reference image. Right? So basically what I'm going to do now is I'm opening it up in a program called Photoscape. And basically I'm going to make this into a square, which will give us a better idea of how to position everything. Because I think my scale is a little bit off for the size of the painting, which, you know, it happens. It happens, so that's all that art is, really. It's just trial and error. So we're going to make this a square really quick. So crop 1 to 1. There we go. So now we actually have this thing in a square, and that will give me a better idea of where to lay stuff out. So, with that being said, again, kind of disregard all this stuff that's on here now. Again, I was just kind of like mapping things out in terms of where I want them in the painting. And this is actually pretty close to where I want stuff in the painting. So now, we're going to grab a smaller brush, like so. There we go. And we're going to get started that. But real quick, I just have to go put this in some water, because this is a really nice brush. I really like this brush. It gets great coverage over large areas, and I would hate for it to dry out, because I really, really like it. So I'm just going to go put this in water real quick. So again, I'm not going to put up the be right back screen because I will be back for 10 seconds. Or I'll be gone for 10 seconds, but I will be right back. All right. There we go. Thanks for waiting. Now we have that brush and some water, so it's not going to dry out on us. So we will grab the brush that we're using, and we're just going to wipe it off with a rag. Again, if you're getting into painting, you don't have to get any sort of fancy like painting rag or anything. Just grab an old cloth or an old pair of boxers or underwear that you don't use anymore, or just an old dish rag, like whatever you want. Anything that will clean the brush off of the paint off your brush, it's good enough. Okay, and then we're gonna get our handy dandy kneeling pillow because I'm old and my knees hurt if I'm kneeling for too long. And we are going to get started on the base of this thing. And again, it might look a little off, but that's okay. All that charcoal is going to get covered up one way or another as we progress. So I'm just grabbing a little bit of yellow paint because, as you can see, the base, as you saw, the base of that light pole is yellow. And really, when you're painting kind of realistic stuff, I think it's good to. It helps me to like set up like an anchor point, such as this base will be, and then once you have that anchor point, it makes everything else much easier. All right, so I'm just gonna put the reference image down here right next to me. And let's get to it. Now, you might be wondering why we're not actually painting the parking lot first. And that's simply because, as of right now, I don't really want to. I want to get started on this light pole because, like I said, that's going to be an anchor point. The parking lot, we can always do that later. But we're just going to come in here and lay out the groundwork for this, the base of this pole. And as you can see, it's a little bit to the right and a little bit bigger than the one that I drew in. And like I said, that's on purpose. That's okay, because the original that I drew in was just kind of mapping things out. And things weren't exactly where I wanted them, so here we go. But we were talking about video games earlier because, I mean, Twitch is a platform primarily for streaming video games. I was talking with Jake from the Woods about formative video games and how a big one for me was the Paper Mario series, and specifically Paper Mario. So I'm just curious if any of you have any games that were pretty pivotal to, you know, your growing up. Because I know Paper Mario was that for me. There we go. Get a little bit more gray in there. And basically we're just building up layers here, little by little. Add a little bit more white to that. And as I said before, this is going to serve as our anchor point for the scale of the rest of the piece as we go along. There we go. But yeah, if you're new to watching, welcome to the channel. This is basically what we do here. We just do some live artwork. We usually do painting because I'm kind of on a painting kick right now. But sometimes we do some drawings, some charcoal drawings. And every once and again, I'll pop in with like a little tip or a trick because I've been I've been doing this for a while, so we're just going to grab some red paint because some of this yellow is a little bit deeper, and the cadmium yellow hue is very nice, but it's also very watered down. If you really want it to be more vibrant and like pop out more, if you add a little bit of red to it and make it not orange, but just a little bit more of a red hue to it, it comes through much fuller. But we don't need that much red. There we go. So, back we go. And now we almost get kind of a rust kind of look going. We'll add a tiny bit of black to that too. But yeah, we just do some artwork, listen to some chill beats, and yeah, just kind of vibe. Alright, so I think that's a pretty good starting point. And then I'm just going to grab some black paint, find an area on our palette that isn't too messy, and we're just going to lay in the kind of base here. This painting is a little bit smaller scale than the last couple of paintings we've done. Like the last one we did on stream is going to be, I think, 56 inches by 48 inches, which is fairly big. This one is less. This one is just 3 feet by 3 feet, 36 by 36, by the time we're all done with it. So let's try to straighten this out some. Just like so. And then right in the middle, we're going to put our light pole. And I'm going to grab our straight edge to make this endeavor a little bit easier. Well, maybe it'll be easier. Maybe. All right. Sorry for that angle there. I'm pretty sure my back was in the way the entire time, but unfortunately I'm not ambidextrous when it comes to painting, so I can't really paint with my left hand. Alright. So we'll grab more black paint and we'll just kind of straighten this up now. And once again, I know this probably looks a little weird because we have the drawn light pole right next to it. But like I said, that one sort of served as a guide, and now we're probably just going to paint over it. Or even erase it, actually, now that we kind of know what we're doing. There we go. Again, these lines don't have to be exactly straight. I'm not too concerned with keeping them 100% straight. I'm just more concerned with mapping out the area that they're covering. Because if they're not 100% straight, we can always go back in afterwards and fix that. I'm trying to keep them as straight as possible, but if they go a little askew, it ain't no thing. Ain't no worries at all. There we go. I've mentioned it on stream before, but if you're interested in creating art of any kind, really, I think it's very important to make sure that whatever you're doing, you genuinely like it. I know that when I was in university, I really struggled a lot with the fact that, you know, by and large, I was creating artwork that I didn't really connect with, I didn't really personally like, but I thought it might get me a good grade with my professors. You know, that was the important thing to me at that time. And I've since come to realize that really at the end of the day that wasn't, because I suffered through creating a lot of stuff that I really did not like at all. Not everything, but a lot of stuff. And it actually kind of disillusioned me quite a bit. So it's very important, I think, that if you're creating, make sure that you're connected and engaged with what you're doing. Like if you're doing something commercial and you don't really like connect with it, that's fine. But if you're doing anything personally, even if you're trying to make it like a profession, if you're trying to make it a commercial venture, like just make sure that you engage with it and you can have fun with it, because it makes it that much more enjoyable. And for years and years and years, I wasn't doing that. I wasn't finding my voice, if you will. I'm just going to grab an eraser, and we're going to start to erase this out. Because believe it or not, you can erase on paint. It doesn't work 100%. The easiest way to erase on paint is to just paint over it. But I'm not quite ready to do that with this area yet. So I'll pop that out a little more. So as I said, as you can see, it's not 100% coming off, but enough of it's coming off for what I want to do next. And again, it's very, very nice working with acrylic in that it dries so quickly that you can do stuff like this. So actually, I think it might just be better to paint over the rest of this with some white paint. That didn't go as smoothly as I thought it might. So we'll just grab another brush. Actually, we'll just use this brush. We'll grab some of our white. Get that on there. Just kind of touch all this up. Here. Just use some strokes, broad strokes, to clean all this up, just like so. Oh, and in case you all are wondering too, got this nice little band-aid here. You would think you would stop doing stuff like this when you're in your 30s, but no. I accidentally cut myself on a glass while I was washing dishes. Just washing inside the glass, and then the glass broke, and I kind of went ouch. And had to use 3 band-aids, but thankfully didn't need stitches. So I've never actually had to have stitches in my life. I've been kind of fortunate that way. I've never had stitches. I've never broken a bone. Nothing like that. I've been very, very fortunate. I've never been stung by a bee, which will be very unfortunate but kind of funny if I get stung by a bee now and then find out I'm allergic. So we're making our way down here. Almost covered up the charcoal that we used to draw on the base there. And you'll see it's kind of mixing with the white that we have on the brush, but that's okay. Because again, with paint, it's very, very easy to erase things and do them again. You just wait for the paint to dry, and you're good. Alright. So now that we have this as a basis, now's the time that I think I'm going to put in the actual parking lot. Again, I just kind of wanted this as a benchmark, a point of reference for the scale of the painting. So now we will get started on the parking lot. So I'm going to grab a little bit more white paint. So just come over here. And we already have black and we've got some blue. And we're using the largest flathead brush that I have that isn't like the carpenter's or the house painting brush, which is the big one. So we're just going to keep using this one. And we're just going to come down here and we're going to start making decisions on what we want to do in terms of our background and our parking lot. Again, this isn't the typical way. Typically you would start with the backing painting, which is all the white, and then you would go from there and do the parking lot, and then like if you're having any stores in the background. But we're doing things a little differently this time. Why? I don't know. Just felt like it, I guess. So we're going to get together our black, white, and a little bit of blue. And we're just going to start laying this in. And again, this van is probably going to get covered up, but that's all right. So we know that the background in the reference photo is going to end right about here. So I'm actually going to grab my straight edge. I'm actually going to lay that across here, just so I can keep that in mind. And I'm going to actually start and just kind of paint across there. Again, it doesn't have to be super exact, but now I just know, right? I'll do that right to the edge. Painting. We'll go over here. And there we go. Now we've got a horizon line of some sort. So I have an app on my computer that darkens the screen, you know, gets rid of the blue light. But I kind of need the picture on there not to be orangish, but to be as true to color as possible. Alright, so here we go. So we're just laying this in. Again, not worrying too much about how exact we're being or anything like that. We're just laying in color. Just like so. And it's a rainy day, so we're going to try and make this as rainy looking as possible. But that will come after we lay all of this stuff in. So as you can see there, everything's just kind of all over the place. But we'll just keep on. So, one of the ways that you can tell that your brushes are getting a little too old is, you can see here, the actual brush head is coming off of the handle. Now, that's nothing that a little super glue won't fix. Like, it's fine. But in case you're taking up painting and you want to know when you could tell, like, maybe it's time to replace a brush, that's one of the hints right there. If the brush starts falling apart as you're brushing. Either that, or I've also seen it, and by seen it I mean like I've done it, is you keep it in water too long, because it kind of breaks that seal that it has with the adhesive that keeps it on there. So, just something to keep in mind. In my case, it's probably a little of column A, a little of column B. The brush is very old, but I probably left it in the water for too long, and it loosened everything up. I've always felt that this song kind of sounds like Daily Agony from either Shenmue 1 or Shenmue 2. Which was one of the songs that I really vibed with in university. In university, I discovered, like, YouTube had been around for a while, but I really discovered all the kind of different stuff you could find on YouTube. And I had never really searched up video game music before. And then there were channels completely devoted to video game music. And I love video game music. I think it's just as valid a genre of music as any other, you know. Love video game music. So Shenmue's Daily Agony was one of the first ones that I discovered. Because I had never played any of the Shenmue games. University is when I really started getting into watching Let's Plays, and which I really enjoyed because, like, I would watch games, Let's Plays of games that I had growing up, and a lot of Let's Plays of games that I didn't have growing up. You know, so it was a really cool way to experience new games. Okay, this brush handle is really giving me the gears right now. Okay. we'll just keep on moving on. It's probably just annoyed that I haven't used it for the past couple of paintings, and then now I'm using it extensively in this one. It's like, oh yeah? Let me show you something. That's what you get for not using me. All right. Once again, we got to get some more white paint. So we'll do that right now. And I think tomorrow I'm gonna have to go buy some white paint, because this is the very, very last of it that I have. So it's a good thing we got that background done when we did. I'm trying to lean out of the way here. I think that'll be about where that ends. There we go. Now we're starting to get a little more of that look. Oops. Got a little bit of paint on the wall, but that's okay. Won't be the last time, I assure you. At least the brush head hasn't gone flying yet, so. Smooth that out there. Now we can start moving over here, where basically this side of the parking lot is going to have a little bit of the shadow from the truck that's going to be in the foreground, you know. So that's kind of what we're painting in now. And now we're going to move over here, and this part of the parking lot is going to be lighter. Still going to be gray, but it's going to be lighter. Because it's going to be reflecting more of the sky. Which, as you can see, is almost completely white. Because it is a cloudy, rainy day. So we're just going to throw that in. Get a nice little transition of color. And with painting, well, with any art form actually, it's very important that, you know, you go at your own pace, you take your time. I know a lot of people, when they're first getting into painting, it can be kind of a, I don't know if I want to say steep learning curve, but it's very different from drawing, because it's, I mean, it's very different medium, very different mechanism of actually putting the material on the canvas, or, you know, much more different than drawing, and that can frustrate some people. Because a lot of people, one way or another, have like probably drawn something in their life, you know, even just doodling on a notebook, and painting is just much different than that. And it can frustrate some people, and rightfully so. It frustrated me for a very, very long time. I really didn't start enjoying painting until I was out of university, actually. And started kind of like doing my own practice. It was only then that I really started enjoying the paintings that I was creating. It took a very long time. And the first paintings that I really enjoyed doing were like big abstract stuff. You know, where I was just like messing around on the canvas. Like, it wasn't like the series of paintings that I'm doing now that start out very representational like this one and then move on to abstraction. Like, it started out very, very abstract. Like, the whole thing was abstract. But that was, I found that I really enjoyed doing that. You know? And I never thought that I would. For me, it was like drawings or bust. Which is, I guess, my way of saying, like, if you try painting and it doesn't click you right away, or you don't like it at all, in any, by any stretch, like, that is perfectly fine, because it's not for everybody. Okay, so we're getting there. We're getting there with this parking lot. I'm going to even out this a little bit down here. Another very hard thing when it comes to doing anything creative is knowing when and how and who to take constructive criticism from. That's something that I really struggled with for a while. Figuring out whose criticism was valid, whose wasn't. And yeah, that takes a while, and it's because you're dealing with so many things as an artist. You're dealing with that. You're probably dealing with imposter syndrome in a way. So like when people say that they really like your work, you're kind of like, oh, do they really? Or are they just saying that because they know me? You know, which that was a thing that I struggled with for a long time. You know, not knowing whether my work was actually good enough. I will say that the one thing that helped me with the constructive criticism angle is just basically like if you get it from other artists, like, you know, finding out whose artist's work you respect and whose artist's work that you enjoy, and, you know, whether they seem to know what they're talking about, you know. And even if you don't like their work, like, as long as they seem like they have your best interests at heart and they're not being mean about it. Because, I mean, that's a lot of things, too. Like, a lot of people will give you criticism and they're just being mean about it. You know, I tend to not listen to that kind of criticism. You know, like, if someone, like, kind of scoffed at something I was doing, it's like, man, that sucks. It's like, well, okay, I'm not paying any more attention to that person. You know. Because they're not actually giving any advice, they're just saying that it sucks, you know. I will say that in my experience, like, artists who have other artists' like best interests at heart tend to give the best advice in terms of constructive criticism. You know, because they've been there as artists, you know, and they know. And as far as imposter syndrome goes, you know, because again, it's a very common thing and a very hard thing to kind of deal with on your own. So I'll just say, like, if the vast majority of people are telling you that they enjoy your work, and that extends past, like, family and friends. I mean, it includes family and friends, but I can see that part of the constructive criticism being like, oh, well, I mean, of course my family's going to say they like it. But if it extends past people who you know in your everyday life, then you know what, their praise is probably very valid. And even if it's not, like, is your family and your friends compelled to enjoy the stuff that you do? Maybe. You know, it's not a stretch. But at the same time, it's very possible and very probable that they do genuinely enjoy what it is that you're doing. And they're not just saying it because they're related to you or because you're buddies or anything like that. They probably genuinely enjoy your work. One thing that was very helpful for me, and I still don't always practice it because I spent so long not practicing it, is, just learning how to take a compliment with your artwork. And how not to start pointing out mistakes and flaws in your artwork that you see, because other people aren't going to see that. Especially given that art is largely seen from a distance, where if there are flaws in your work, they're going to get softened by the fact that people are going to be viewing them from a ways away rather than right up close. So just keep that in mind too. Okay, so we've got that started. Now we're gonna kind of throw in a nice little shadow here for this lamppost. How are we doing for time? Okay. Oop. But yeah, trust me, I know where people are coming from in terms of your fears and your doubts about your artwork. I've been there. I'm still there, if we're being completely honest. But yeah, I guess I said it kind of clunky earlier, so let me rephrase it in a way. Most artists who give you constructive criticism have your best interests at heart, because, there are, of course, very competitive artists who don't want to see other artists succeed, and they're kind of sad people, I guess. But the vast majority of artists, in whatever medium you're working in, want to see more art. They want to see more creation. They want to see people kind of let their creativity fly, and, putting people down in a mean way outside of the actual air of constructive criticism. That's no way to treat anybody to begin with, but especially someone who's trying to get into a certain type of art. Okay, so we got our parking lot. We've got a little bit of shadow. Now, all of this is subject to change. This looks pretty good so far, but might change some things every once and again. We're almost an hour and a half in. So I'm just going to grab some water really quick. So I'm just going to throw up this "Be Right Back" screen, and then I'll grab some water, and then we'll get back to it for the last half hour or so. we are back. Thank you for your patience. That water was very refreshing. Okay, so right now, because I like the look of this so far, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start working on the details of all the little stuff around here, and also doing a few more details on the stone base itself. So I'm just going to bring the camera in a little bit on my makeshift tripod, just so you can see a little more clearly what it is that I'm doing here. Okay, I'm going to grab a new brush, grab my rag, and let's do it to it. So again, we're keeping in mind that this is the very beginnings of this painting, so everything we're laying down right now is basically going to serve as a baseline for things that we do later. So even if things aren't exactly the way we want them, that's okay. Everything's subject to change. I've had paintings where I've gotten like almost done the painting and then decided I didn't like any of it and then just painted over it and started again. I'm not betting on that happening here, but you never know. But I doubt that's going to happen here. I like how this painting is progressing so far. It's still in its very rudimentary stages, but it's good. So, right now, I'm just mixing up a green and adding some black to it, kind of wash it out, and maybe some yellow to gray it out. Or white, I mean, not yellow. Adding some white. And now we're just going to start putting in some little plants and stuff that are creeping up through the pavement. There we go. And there's not any real rhyme or reason as to where we're putting these. We're just kind of going for it. Add a little darker tones to that. Give it some depth. There we go. So that's that. And now we're going to go in, and like I said, we're going to do a few more details and stuff on this pillar. Make it look all nice and rusted and faded. some black there. And kind of darken it up for this edge. All this kind of detailed stuff just takes some practice. You know, like all artistic ventures, you know, it does take some practice. Okay, now we're going to take some of this grayish yellow and we're gonna do some stuff up in here. You know, like the stone is starting to show through. The paint is kind of eroded away. That's kind of the look we're going for here. Now we get like a darker band of it kind of coming across. Now we kind of get some of that off the brush and go back to that original yellow. Now we'll add some kind of rust spots. And again, you want to be aware of the areas that are just a little bit too wet to be painting on still. You know, just be aware of those and try to avoid them. Lest you'll be just repainting that area. But I think this is coming together pretty nicely so far. Okay, just gonna wash off this brush real quick. Now, believe it or not, this probably isn't the last that we're going to be working on this light pole base. We're probably going to be working on it a couple of a couple more times as the painting progresses. And I change my mind about certain things and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, this definitely won't be the last time we're working on this. And it's a little too dark. Let's lighten that up some. And now we're going to go back and sort of redo some of these plants. Doing the same things we did before, kind of darkening them up, graying them out. There we go. Hey, Lee from the Woods. Well, welcome to the chat, and thank you for the raid, Jake. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Thank you, sir. Yeah, it's coming along. It's coming along slowly but surely. I was just saying this probably won't be the last time that we work on this particular element of the painting, but it's looking so far. It's looking pretty good so far. But no, thank you very much for the raid. I appreciate it. However, it does look like I also need to reset my my alert box. There we go. All right. So now that we've done that, I'm going to grab some more black paint. And in case you're tuning in and you're wondering why this pole looks so wonky, it's just because the painting is hanging on the wall. That's how I prefer to paint. I paint on the wall and then I stretch the canvas afterwards. But since it's hanging on the wall, there are some wrinkles and everything, and that's why that straight line looks very not straight. Yeah, it's just very, very sideways and curvy. And there's nothing wrong with sideways and curvy, but light poles tend not to be sideways and curvy. Want to make yours have the Indiana? Oh, that's a good idea. That's a very good idea. There's got to be a way to make that happen. I mean, it's the perfect idea. I think mine just has one of the stock sounds. But how did your stream go? Were you just streaming some more shiny honey? Oh. Nice, nice. Any luck? And as far as that goes, yeah, nice. Any luck getting the shinies that you wanted? And speaking of which, did you ever manage to get that shiny Amora, or are you putting that on hold for now? Oh, okay. Lee, how, how did that go? I'm guessing it wasn't, it didn't go well. Amora's on hold for now. That's fair. That's fair. You'll get one. You'll get one someday. I know it. I can feel it in my bones. Oh no. So if not for him, who did it go well for? Oh. Oh no. Oh, that's. I'm gonna have to watch that again. I'm gonna have to watch your stream. I need to see that go down. So Lee, you had I take it you had pretty good shiny luck. What did you get? Well, I mean, hey, it has to be good for somebody, right? Oh, I love it. Oh, wow. Yeah, Jake, I'm sorry. That's tough to take. That is inordinate luck. My goodness. That is impressive. But you know what? I'm a big believer in, you know, what goes around comes around. Jake, the next time you try it, you will have much better luck. I can feel it in my bones. And you should trust me when I say that, because I mean I was right about you choosing to get Brilliant Diamond. I was actually I wasn't right about the bird Pokemon that you were gonna keep. I wasn't right about that one, but we'll just ignore that one. I can imagine. I can imagine. Hey, I'd be right there with you. I mean, to be fair, I've never actually like done any sort of like really fervent shiny hunting. Actually, I don't think I've even come across a shiny Pokemon myself. I got traded one once, but I can still feel how like I that reaction is understandable. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. How are we doing so far in terms of time? Oh, we got a couple more minutes. We got a couple more minutes. It's all... Everybody gets a raid. That's right. That means I'm going to have to pass it on, which means I'm going to have to choose somebody to raid when this is over. Share the love. All right. Let's keep going, because there's a few other things that I can do before we wrap it up here. We'll throw some more plants coming out of a crack back here. There we go. What else have we got here? We got some more in the distance. This parking lot clearly is not well kept. All right. So let me zoom out here so you guys can get a little better taste of what we've done today. Oh, my face is in the way. That's attractive. There we go. All right. So this is the stage of our painting so far. We've got the base of the light pole, which I might still add some more to make it pop. We've got the light pole itself. Actually, before we close, maybe I'll start mapping out the actual lights up at the top. Let me grab another brush real quick, because we still got a couple more minutes. We've got 2 minutes actually, and then I'm going to send y'all on a raid. Who are we going to be raiding? I don't know, but we shall see. But let's get these lights in. At the very least, let's block them in. Again, this doesn't have to be super exact or like very pretty, but we're just kind of mapping things out because that's a little bit off, but that's fine. It'll just get fixed later. We'll fix it in post. Except no, we're not going to do it in post. We'll do it live the next time. So yeah, this side's a little wonky, but we'll fix it next time. That's fine. There we go. Yeah, that's very wonky, but that's all right. We'll be able to fix it next time. But yeah, that's what we've got going so far. I'm pretty pleased with how this has turned out thus far. It's a smaller painting, so this is going to be less sessions than our last painting took. But overall, I'm pretty pleased with it. So, let's get you down here with me so that I can actually like look at you guys while I'm looking for a person to raid. There we go. You see a bit of our ceiling there. It's nothing too exciting. But I do appreciate everyone showing up and everybody chatting and just hanging out and having a good time. I really do appreciate it. I hope you liked what you've seen so far. So, with that, let's find somebody to raid. Who should we raid? Maybe someone I'm following is live right now. No, everybody's offline. That's fine. Let's search. Since we talked so much about it, let's search. Is anybody playing Paper Mario live right now? There is someone playing Paper Mario live right now. Tokenute. I don't know much about Tokenute, but it looks like they're playing Mario's Story, which is I think it's the Japanese and possibly European name for Paper Mario. But that's what they're doing right now. So, let's see if I do this raid correctly. But anyway, I thank you all for checking out what we were doing here today. I really do appreciate it. Hope you like what you've seen so far. And let's try this. Thank you for checking it out. So, with that, actually, let me make sure that I'm doing this right. Bear with me, everybody. This is going to be my first raid. Okay. Yes. It's a good thing that I checked that out because I almost did it wrong. Okay, so I'm going to send you on this raid to Tokenute, who's playing Paper Mario right now. So I hope you enjoy what you see over there, and I will see you all next time on Sunday at 11 a.m. That's when we'll continue working on this. All right? So everybody have a good night, and we'll see you then. All right.